Welcome to the spine-tingling world of our unholy tales, where fear takes its darkest form and every shadow holds a chilling secret. We are your guides through the twisted and nightmarish tales that will keep you on the edge of your seat, clutching your pillow for dear life. Get ready to embark on a journey into the abyss of your deepest fears as we explore the realms of the supernatural, the macabre, and the unknown. The moon hung low in the ink-black sky, casting eerie shadows across the desolate landscape of the abandoned psychiatric hospital. The air was thick with a palpable sense of dread, as if the very essence of fear had woven itself into the fabric of the night. Dr. Elizabeth Hartley, a renowned psychiatrist, shivered involuntarily as she approached the decaying building, its windows shattered and its once white walls stained with the passage of time. Dr. Hartley had come to the forsaken asylum in pursuit of closure, a resolution to the darkest chapter of her professional life. The memories of the patient she had failed haunted her every waking moment. Jonathan Kane, a name that had become synonymous with the abyss of insanity. He had been under her care, or rather, her misguided attempt at care, when he had vanished without a trace. She had been convinced that she could cure him, save him from the clutches of his own fractured mind. But Jonathan, with his wild eyes and twisted grin, proved to be a puzzle even the most seasoned psychiatrists couldn't solve. And then, one stormy night, he had escaped, leaving chaos and terror in his wake. The asylum's corridors were a labyrinth of shadows, the silence broken only by the distant howl of the wind. Dr. Hartley cautiously made her way through the crumbling hallways, her footsteps echoing like ghostly whispers. The flickering light of her flashlight danced across the peeling wallpaper, revealing glimpses of a bygone era when this place had been a sanctuary for the mentally afflicted. As she ventured deeper, the air grew colder, and the oppressive weight of the past bore down on her shoulders. The echoes of her own footsteps seemed to morph into faint, mocking laughter, as if the asylum itself were jeering at her vulnerability. Dr. Hartley pushed on, determined to confront the demons that lingered in the shadows. The first sign of Jonathan's presence came in the form of an unsettling whisper. Faint at first, like the distant murmur of a disturbed spirit, it grew steadily louder. Dr. Hartley strained to make out the words, but they danced just beyond the edge of comprehension, leaving her with a growing sense of unease. She quickened her pace, anxiety clawing at her chest. The whispers followed, wrapping around her like invisible tendrils. The asylum seemed to come alive with the echoes of tortured souls, and Dr. Hartley's steps faltered as the oppressive atmosphere threatened to suffocate her. In a moment of panic, she turned a corner, stumbling upon a forgotten room. The door creaked open, revealing a space frozen in time. Dust-covered furniture and rusted medical instruments stood as eerie relics of a bygone era. But it was the cracked mirror on the wall that caught Dr. Hartley's attention. As she gazed into the shattered glass, a distorted figure emerged behind her reflection. The silhouette of a man, twisted and contorted, loomed in the darkness. Dr. Hartley's breath caught in her throat as she slowly turned around, only to find the room empty. The whispers intensified, swirling around her like a storm of fragmented thoughts. The air crackled with an otherworldly energy, and Dr. Hartley's instincts screamed at her to flee. But the relentless pursuit of closure held her in place, a prisoner of her own haunted past. As she delved deeper into the asylum's depths, the line between reality and nightmare blurred. Shadows seemed to detach themselves from the walls, taking on grotesque forms that slithered and writhed. Dr. Hartley's mind became a battleground, a realm where the boundaries of sanity were pushed to their limits. The whispers coalesced into a voice, unmistakably Jonathan's, a sinister symphony of fragmented thoughts and malevolent intent. He taunted her with memories she had long suppressed, each word a razor-sharp reminder of her failure as a healer. Dr. Hartley's steps became erratic, the darkness closing in as if seeking to consume her very soul. A sudden gust of wind extinguished her flashlight, plunging her into absolute darkness. Panic set in as the asylum's oppressive silence was shattered by the sound of her own ragged breaths. In the inky blackness, a pair of eyes gleamed, feral and hungry, watching her every move. Dr. Hartley fumbled for her phone, its feeble glow providing a feeble lifeline in the suffocating dark. The spectral whispers surrounded her, their words now tangible tendrils that seemed to wrap around her, pulling her further into the abyss. With each step, the asylum itself seemed to shift and warp, a nightmarish labyrinth that defied the laws of reality. As she stumbled through the darkness, Dr. Hartley found herself in a long-forgotten ward. The air was thick with the stench of decay, and the low moans of unseen entities echoed through the dilapidated halls. In the flickering light, she caught glimpses of shadowy figures, their forms elusive and ever-changing. The relentless pursuit continued, an unending dance between predator and prey. Dr. Hartley's sanity teetered on the edge, the weight of her past sins threatening to drag her into the abyss. The asylum became a nightmarish stage, each room a tableau of horrors that played out the twisted narrative of her own unravelling mind. In a moment of desperation, she stumbled upon the asylum's decaying library, its shelves lined with forgotten tomes on the fringes of human consciousness. Dr. Hartley frantically searched for answers, her trembling hands pulling books from the shelves. The words on the pages seemed to dance, their meaning elusive, and the room pulsated with an otherworldly energy. As she delved into the forbidden knowledge within those forgotten pages, Dr. Hartley's understanding of reality began to fracture. The asylum, once a mere physical space, revealed itself as a nexus of malevolent forces, a realm where the boundaries between the living and the dead were blurred beyond recognition. The whispers reached a crescendo, a cacophony of torment that reverberated through her very soul. Dr. Hartley, now teetering on the brink of madness, stumbled upon a revelation that sent shivers down her spine. Jonathan, the escaped patient, was not a mere mortal. He had become a conduit for the unspeakable horrors that lurked in the shadows. Driven by a desperate need to survive, Dr. Hartley navigated the asylum's twisted corridors with newfound purpose. The air hummed with an otherworldly resonance as she faced manifestations of her own guilt and the malevolent forces that fed upon it. The line between pursuer and pursued blurred, as if the asylum itself were orchestrating a perverse ballet of despair. In a climactic confrontation, Dr. Hartley found herself in the asylum's long-abandoned chapel. The air was thick with the scent of decay, and the flickering candles cast grotesque shadows on the stained glass windows. At the altar, she confronted the spectral presence of Jonathan, his eyes gleaming with a malevolent intelligence. The asylum seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy, and Dr. Hartley realized that she stood at the crossroads between salvation and damnation. With each heartbeat, the chapel's walls closed in, and the whispers intensified, urging her to surrender to the darkness that had claimed Jonathan. In a desperate gambit, she confronted the entity that wore Jonathan's visage, demanding answers that echoed through the desolate chapel. The shadows recoiled, revealing fragments of the tortured soul that lingered within. Dr. Hartley, her voice trembling with a newfound strength, sought to understand the nature of the malevolent force that had ensnared them both. As the truth unfolded, a cosmic horror emerged, an ancient entity that thrived on the shattered minds of the tormented. Jonathan had become a vessel, a puppet manipulated by forces beyond mortal comprehension. The asylum, a gateway to the abyss, served as the perfect stage for the entity's perverse machinations. In a final, harrowing confrontation, Dr. Hartley faced the choice that would define her fate. The entity, hungry for the despair that clung to her like a shroud, offered her the tantalizing embrace of oblivion. The asylum's walls seemed to close in, the very fabric of reality unraveling as the cosmic horror sought to claim its prize. But in the depths of her despair, Dr. Hartley found a flicker of resilience. With a newfound clarity, she defied the entity, rejecting the abyss that threatened to consume her. The asylum trembled, and the malevolent force recoiled, its influence waning as the tendrils of darkness receded. As dawn broke on the horizon, Dr. Hartley emerged from the asylum, the weight of her past sins lifting with each step. The echoes of the cosmic horror faded, leaving the abandoned asylum a mere shell of its former malevolence. The twisted dance between pursuer and pursued had reached its bitter end. In the aftermath, Dr. Hartley found herself changed, forever marked by the horrors she had faced. The scars of the asylum lingered, a testament to the fragility of the human mind in the face of unspeakable darkness. As she walked away from the forsaken building, the sun's first rays banished the lingering shadows, and the chapter of her haunted past closed. But deep within the recesses of her mind, the whispers lingered, a reminder that some horrors could never be fully extinguished. The line between sanity and madness remained thin, a fragile barrier that held back the abyss. Dr. Elizabeth Hartley, forever haunted by the spectral echoes of the asylum, walked away from the ruins, the tortured souls within, finding a reluctant solace in the dawn of a new day. And so, the abandoned psychiatric hospital stood as a silent witness to the macabre dance that had unfolded within its walls, a tale of a psychiatrist haunted by the patient she couldn't save, a twisted pursuit that transcended the boundaries of the living and the dead. The shattered reflections of the past cast long shadows, and the asylum remained a monument to the fragility of the human psyche in the face of unspeakable horrors.